One of the most important things that you can do every morning is expose yourself to natural sunlight, or if not sunlight, then at the very least, the natural light from the sky. Research clearly shows us that lack of natural light, specifically early on during the day, leads to you going to sleep later, waking up later, and basically just diminishes your overall sleep quality. Interestingly, there was this study looking at astronauts who were completely deprived of natural light, and what they experienced was a significant drop in sleep, not only when they were in space, but also during their pre-flight training, because they'd had all this natural signaling removed. And we need this signaling from the sky for our circadian rhythms to know what the hell's going on. If your sleep isn't up to par, eventually every single aspect of your health suffers. What people don't always understand is that there are knock-on consequences to everything. Dysregulation of your circadian rhythms isn't as simple as like, oh, I'm feeling a bit tired. It throws off your hormonal health, your cognitive function, your appetite regulation, your mental health, your glucose delivery, your muscle protein synthesis, even your hydration. You have to look at it this way. Your body's a bit like a baby. If you don't give a baby enough of a healthy routine or try to ingrain healthy habits into it, it's gonna kick off. It's gonna play up and it's gonna make your life hell. And your body is no different. The more natural light exposure you get early on in the day, the more your body's gonna thank you, and the better primed your circadian rhythms will be. All you need to do is, ideally within the first 30 minutes of waking up, set your eyes on the skyline, not through glasses, not through a window. Let that natural light into your eyes. And as little as 5 to 15 minutes is all you need. Before anyone calls me out for this is a tip I can't actually take credit for. I've known about the role of circadian rhythms in our health for years, but it's only since I heard Andrew Huberman talking about it that I've actually started to integrate it into my own morning ritual and recommend it to my clients. And I've got to tell you, the more I do it, the better I feel. And you may wonder, does this make a difference though? And I get it. It does sound a bit ritualistic, a bit hippie-ish, and maybe you're not one of those kinds of people. I know that a lot of people have an aversion to the more spiritual and holistic way of living, and they want to pinpoint science and objectivity behind everything. And I get that, but look, there are particular cells in the eye that actually communicate to the brain and alert it of whether it's daytime or nighttime, and they are highly receptive to light. The presence of natural light immediately suppresses your secretion of melatonin, the sleep hormone, and it propagates a healthy rise in cortisol, which is exactly what we need early on in the day. What you're doing is sending your brain the exact signal that it needs to regulate you healthily for the next 24 hours. Of course, there's plenty of other ways that you can mess up your day and do unhealthy things in the meantime, but ultimately you're setting your day up perfectly. What you've got to remember is that from an evolutionary perspective, we're hardwired to be woken up with light. It would be pretty dangerous for us to continue sleeping once the sun's come up, just as it would be dangerous for us to stay awake out in the open after sundown, because that's a point that we'd be prime target for predators who have far better night vision than we do. So there is biological utility behind our circadian rhythms. And without natural light exposure as a cue first thing in the morning, neither your sleep nor your general circadian regulation over the course of the day are going to be particularly in line, because your brain hasn't been informed of when precisely it's morning time. And when you start to throw into the picture all the unnatural light we get from our TV screens and our smartphones during the evening, what you're looking at is a total shitstorm of circadian disruption, because basically everything's backwards. We're getting no natural light in the morning, but we're inundated with artificial light in the evening. So no wonder so many of us struggle with sleep. The cues we take in from our environment are completely backward, and resultantly, the brain doesn't know whether it's left, right, upside down, or sideways. One of the reasons I've grown to hate living in the UK, and believe me, there are a few, is that it's so dark half the year, it's really difficult to get natural light in the morning, or actually any time of day, for at least half the year. During winter months in England, my sleep just goes to hell. Living in warmer and sunnier climates is basically just better for almost every aspect of health, from your vitamin D levels, to your skin health, to the activity that you're inadvertently gonna do versus not do in a colder environment. And the seasonal effect on your circadian rhythms in places that are dark for half the year can be really bad. Now look, the natural light that you get during the winter months in a place like Canada or Northern Europe is just not as powerful. This doesn't mean that you can't get the benefits, it just takes a little longer. And you may be looking at something more like 20 minutes of exposure as opposed to 5 or 10 minutes in a place that has clear skies. This can be easily accomplished with a pre-breakfast or post-breakfast walk, or as part of your commute to work, or a dog walk, or any multitude of ways. It just tends to require a bit more forward planning than if you had the privilege of living somewhere warm and sunny where you can just step outside with your morning coffee for 5 minutes. When we don't have the best tools available to us, we have to make do with what we've got, even if it's not quite as pleasant. Because I think I speak for everyone when I say that watching a Mediterranean sunrise for 10 minutes in the morning in 30-degree heat is a lot nicer than 20 minutes of walking around in the rain, in the freezing cold, with no other color to be seen than gray. As you can see, I'm not a fan of England. As an FYI, it goes without saying, don't look directly at the sun. I know that kind of seems like a no-brainer, but seriously, don't do anything to damage your eyes. And also, this process doesn't work at all if you're wearing sunglasses or you're looking through a window or through any glass, because what that does is filter out the blue light, which is exactly what you need for this to work. So if you think you're getting your natural light exposure in the morning by driving to work in your car or by looking out the window of your house, you're not. There needs to be an unobstructed line of vision between your eyes and the sky. Aside from exercise or activity levels and eating a balanced diet, the two most important things you can do to optimize your sleep are natural light exposure and practice sleep hygiene, which are basically just two sides of the same coin anyway. It's just that one is for the purpose of optimizing your day ahead and the other is for the purpose of optimizing your sleep. Sleep hygiene is basically the do's and don'ts, tips and tricks about what to do in the evening to facilitate high quality sleep, and so that you don't obstruct your sleep accidentally with stimulants or with artificial light or with sugar or alcohol. And we have some really useful sleep hygiene resources that you can download for free on healthactualized.com. We also have a video course on how to optimize your morning ritual to kickstart your day as best we know possible. And of course, this does include a natural light component. So feel free to register as a free user and you'll be able to take a look and download them in your own time. Hope you found this useful, and thanks so much for watching.